anyway, all right, guys. So as some of you guys may know, last week on PBD Podcast, Rob was on it. We had a guy by the name of Steve Schmidt. Did you see the whole thing?
I did.
You saw the whole thing? Okay. Towards the end of the podcast, we got into a heated debate. The podcast was in cruise control for the majority of the podcast. And then at one point...
It was fairly civil.
Would you say civil? Would you say... Some people said it was boring.
Oh,
like, it was because he talked very slow.
Well, yes, he spoke like, if you ever watch a YouTube video and they slow down the speed, normally people speed it up.
Yeah.
We would have had to double the speed just to make him normal, because it was a very
When I was editing it, I put it on 2x, and it sounded normal.
I watched it on 2x, and I was like...
Hold on, guys. I had to sit next to him, and the funniest part of the whole thing was Tom was scheduled for that one, but then that morning, guys, think about how God and life works. Tom kind of canceled, and Pat's like, oh, Bob goes, Vinny, I need you on it. So by the way, I did my research. I did all the research on the Lincoln Project. So I had the ammo, but I was just sitting there nodding. What sparked the whole debate or the fight, whatever you want to call it, is he compared, and he's done this in the past, he compared January 6th to 9/11, and that dude, and how it
was worse.
He said it was worse.
It was a worse
and for you,
day
he
for
actually
Americans.
said, and I quote, the January 6th attack for the future of our country was profoundly more dangerous event than the 9/11 attacks. And in the end, the January 6th attacks are likely to kill a lot more Americans than were killed on the 9/11 attacks, which will include the casualties of the wars that lasted 20 years following. Okay, so as you guys could probably gather, it didn't sit well with me, especially being I'm the child of legal Middle Eastern immigrants, okay? I myself served in the Air Force during 9/11. I was put on stop loss where I couldn't even leave because Bush put a thing where they can't afford to lose soldiers. The president put something called stop loss, which basically means, like, Joel, you're walking out the door. If they go, hey, can't afford it, you're stuck. So imagine the taste, the sour taste I got in my mouth. My brother and my sister are also veterans. My sister, Veronique, just retired after 25 years. She's currently working at the Space Force in California, so the mission doesn't stop. So for him to say that, it threw me off the edge. But just for all the people that are new that don't know who this guy is, I'll give you guys a brief background of good old Steve Schmidt. So he was an American political corporate strategist. He worked on Republican political campaigns, including George W. Bush, California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, Senator John McCain during his 2008 campaign. And just to mention, and Rob, you brought this up on the podcast, he didn't even vote for John McCain. That should tell you a lot about the individual himself.
Right.
How can you work and back a presidential candidate and be the head of his campaign and you don't vote for him? So you're telling me to vote for this person, but for the country, but you won't do it. It kind of says a lot about his character.
Well, that would literally be selling, not literally, but it is selling your soul, because you're accepting money to run the campaign.
100%, a lot.
But you're getting paid to do what? You're going out and promoting the campaign of somebody you don't believe in. So that'd be like us selling something that we don't believe in.
100%, Rob. Like, you're pushing a shitty product.
A snake oil salesman.
That's exactly who he is. Yeah.
He was pretty bad at his job, too, if you think about it. Because, like,
politician.
He won by a hanging chad for Bush the first time. He won because of 9/11 the second time. And then he won with the Terminator, which is easy. And,
Yeah, he was going up with like Gary Coleman.
Yeah, so that's not impressive.
That is pretty funny. Like, as a campaign manager, Arnold, do me a favor, just come up here and just go, okay, I'll be back. Dude, I'm sold.
And don't have sex with your house.
And then with the McCain.
You can have a career in politics forever.
Don't cheat on your wife with the maid, housekeeper, and
have an illegitimate child with them. And then he's like, I'm going to disappear for a while, grew a beard, and came back. He's like, I'm liberal. And people are like, oh, we love Arnold. He's the best.
That's what I'm telling right now. All you have to do is change to Democrat and liberal, and everything goes away. It's actually quite magical.
Or change your gender, and then they like
That's true.
He'd make an ugly woman. Could you imagine Arnold as a woman?
Oh, my God. Like, yeah, you have to go in the back seat to make it. Anyway, so more about Steve. So he's a founding member of the Lincoln Project, a super PAC organized in 2019 by former Republican operatives opposed to Donald Trump's 2020 campaign for re-election. He instead supported 2020 campaign of Democratic nominee Joe Biden, and as of 2020, the organization raised over $100 million. Brandon, where is that money? Is that, I didn't ask him, but is that like a source? Who's giving that much money to take down Trump?
All the people that hated Trump, because obviously, I mean, half the country, maybe 40%, hated Trump. So people are just funneling money into this thing. And I don't even think it's unreasonable to think that people like Soros are giving money to, because they registered as a super PAC. So they had all kinds of exemptions and like accounting things that let them take in money in an unnatural way that like a business wouldn't take in money. So then they basically siphoned off a ton of it. I think they only used like half of it or something like that.
So where's the rest of the money go?
Yeah,
So Brandon, just so you could teach me, when it comes to a super PAC, are you donating and it's nameless and it's just a part, like, is it unlimited amount of funds, however much money you want to
Yeah,
get?
since the Citizens United Supreme Court thing, it's corporations could basically an unlimited amount of money to campaigns. And
That's not fair.
No, not
So
at
whoever
all.
has the most money and the most commercials and the most shit talking, you're the ones that are going to
whoever gets
win.
the most things promised to them, they get hooked up.
Oh, damn, dude.
What
so
happens to the money if they don't spend it?
it goes in his
Oh,
pocket.
well, in this situation, they just took it and ran.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I mean, again, since it's like a liberal thing when they're against Trump, there's much less attention towards it trying to do anything about it. But if it's
Kind
the
of
other
like
way
the BLM
around,
money.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, this is the most successful super PAC in the history of our country. They raised the most money to go after the guy. What were you going to say,
But
Rob?
with the BLM money, we know where that went.
Right.
That's the
That's what I'm
difference.
saying.
BLM went to buying Patricia Kohler's
Mansions.
different mansions, whereas the Lincoln Project
That's-
money, they're like, oh, we don't know where that other $50 million went.
You know what's funny too? When I was watching the documentary, it was like 5 episodes, and it kept showing the guy in his house. And each episode, like in the timeline, he was in a bigger and a bigger house.
Yeah.
So progressively, you're watching this guy just get rich off the Lincoln Project because he kept being in a nicer house every episode.
That's funny
weird.
that
Yeah.
you could document
Yeah.
laundering that money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then, so
Allegedly.
So yeah, so he says what he says, and then that's when the shit show started. And then I want you guys everybody home, everybody here to remember, it's always the people that are pointing the most and projecting are the ones that you have to really, really be careful about. So, and then the Lincoln Project. By the way, just some more fun facts. They went after Trump for being what? Horrible, bad man who cheated on his taxes, lied 30,000 sometimes. This guy counted apparently because he has nothing better to do. He colluded with Russia and all that nonsense. But come to find out,
And the porn star thing.
And the porn-
affair,
Stormy Daniels.
the Stormy Daniels thing, yeah.
But you know what's the funniest part of the whole thing was? Steve, that whole group, the Lincoln Project, they were guilty of doing exactly what they were going after Trump. So one of them had a $390,000 tax lien on his house. Weird, tax guy. One had to go to court for not paying his American Express credit card with a debt of over $26,000. And the crown jewel, the winner of the group, his co-founder, John Weaver, was not only a registered foreign Russian agent, but a pedophile. Okay? You cannot make this up. And apparently...
And Trump's the bad guy.
Yeah,
He's evil.
And apparently the Lincoln Project, he stated, he goes, you heard him on the podcast, I didn't know. Hey, it wasn't me. I paid my taxes. That's his way out. And it just seems to me like it's the professional, it's like by the way, I'm folding my leg, that's professional as hell. Yep. I'm in pain right now. It's funny how he's a professional, strategist. You know what that means? Everything is strategic. Right when that news of the John Weaver being a pedophile comes out, guess what good old Steve does? Hey, just FYI, I was molested when I was a kid. Wow, what great timing. As a strategy guy, like what better? Because you know what? And here's the message to Steve. If that really happened, stop the press. Let's go find that guy and hold him accountable. If you're telling the truth, I'm with you 100%. Find that guy, find out his name, and hold him accountable. Don't just throw that out there and say, like, oh, we were all molested at some point when we were kids. It kind of it fits his narrative. But anyway, so back to the beef. So comparing that day to 9/11 was, dude, it hit a nerve that made me like go nuts, because now we're finding out all the stuff that's really happened. And Brett, just guys, I made a list of facts. Yeah. Just so you know, these guys, they always want to be like, no, you don't know what, I'm a whack job. I'm a crazy whack job.
Effing nut is what he calls
Effing
you.
nut. How many people died?
A few times.
How many people died on January 6th?
One.
Who died on January 6th?
It was actually on the conservative side.
Yeah. What was it?
Babbitt.
Ashley Babbitt.
Yep,
a
Ashley
12-year
Babbitt.
United States Air Force veteran.
By a cop, right? Or like
Yeah,
By a
they're-
Capitol
Capitol
Police.
Yeah.
policeman.
By the way,
the one person.
by the way,
There were
They kept his
suicides,
name
you said
out,
too. There
they
were
kept everything
suicides.
out.
People
Any
things happened
shooting
afterwards.
Yeah.
Any shootings that happen anywhere in our country, the cops' names released within 24 hours. There's a manhunt for him or a witch hunt for him.
Yep.
And this one was kept quiet for so long.
Yep. Oh, wait, so long. And by the way, an insurrection insurrection with nobody
weapons.
armed with guns and everything,
Yeah.
and the only person murdered was a veteran, and everybody keeps their mouth shut. And by the way, countless FBI agents on the ground, Rob. I think, who's the FBI head of Chris? Who is it?
Not
Chris
cool.
Wray?
Christopher Wray, in front of Congress, they asked him in Congress, they said, can you tell us how many dressed down FBI agents were on the ground on that day? He goes, that's their best answer. It's an ongoing, we can't BS.
We can't disclose.
Because I don't care what anybody says, we have video footage of Ray Epps, and I know we always beat this horse to death. This guy is on camera dressed like a freaking Fed, yelling, telling people, whispering, we're going inside the Capitol. Go in there whispering, and people, by the way, he was at the main
He was like in
point
the
of
huddle.
entry.
He was like, go to the Capitol.
Yeah, and go ahead.
And in your video, he tried to discredit the fact that you saw these videos on Twitter. It's like that's a very it's not doctored video.
Oh, he, but
You know,
like,
like that-
it's like the people that go like this. Where do you get your news? Oh, YouTube. I have a cousin that's like, really? YouTube? You didn't get it on MSNBC or CNN?
Yeah.
So I have a clip. You guys want to see before I go into the facts? Kelly, do you want to see the clip?
Let's roll that.
We're gonna show everybody the clip. There's 2 clips, and mind you, guys, I almost had to go to the hospital because I either was gonna have an aneurysm or a heart attack.
Your vein
red.
almost popped out.
This one I'm red. The other one I'm a Macintosh Apple. So Kelly, go ahead, play it. In better shape now than when Trump was in? Are you happy with what's going on? You and your Lincoln Project, but mind you, the biggest hypocrites, you guys were going after him for Russian collusion and tax evading. That's what you guys were doing. All your people, you were the only one that was innocent. The rest of them were perverted. One of them was a Russian agent. One of them was a Russian agent. One of them owes $390,000 in a tax lien on his house, and the other guy went to court from American Express for not paying his $30,000 tax bill. You guys are the biggest hypocrites. The biggest hypocrites. You guys hate the man. You guys just hate the man. With the policies and what he did for this country. I'm happy. Listen, it didn't have to be him, Steve. It could have been a fucking turtle. He woke us up. He told people, hey, look at this curtain. Look at what these assholes are doing. Fake news, and it's all bullshit. Oh, next one. Yeah, we got one more. Nice. I almost had a heart attack. This one's real heart attack. This one's like about to explode.
Look at your eyes.
Yeah.
So scary.
You mean to tell me Donald Trump, 2016, we found, this is a fact. This isn't BS. I made this up. 2016, fact, all right? The Durham report. Hillary Clinton, DNC, FBI, they all colluded to say he...
None of that shit.
So you're full of shit right now. Number one, 100% true. She paid for the dossier and did all that shit. So wait. So Donald Trump is crazy to think that they would cheat again? Are you kidding me? You've been having the FBI
There's no evidence of voter fraud of any type whatsoever anywhere.
By the way, guys, if you guys notice, Taylor, he's shuffling papers. Those weren't even his papers.
Yeah.
He was grabbing back sheet. He's like, oh yeah, sure. I'm like, hey, that's my birth certificate. You got that on my backpack.
Talk about nervous tech.
But yeah, he's very nervous. So guys, I'm gonna just really fast because I want to move on to the next story. Just some facts of January 6th. The only person who died, Ashley Babbitt. The chief of police, Steve Stunned, in an interview with Tucker Carlson and other interviews, said the FBI, DHS, and the military knew about the threats of violence, but the chief of Capitol Police was in the dark about it on purpose, right? January 4th, the military wrote a memo stating restricting National Guard from carrying weapons, dealing with protesters. So think about this. You know it's going down. There's threats of violence. The chief of police, who's, by the way, that's not just a regular chief of regular police. The chief of Capitol Police, your clearance, Joel, is bananas, bro. He's top secret. Yeah. He's protecting the main people in Congress, and you know what I mean? So General Milley was using a data miner, which is an intelligence platform that crawls across websites looking for threats. He received intelligence of people threatening violence to members of Congress. Didn't tell this chief. It's almost as if they knew shit was going down, so they kind of went like this, let it happen, so they could do exactly what the hell they're doing right now. Hitler did it with the Reichstag, where they burned down their own parliament, and they're like, hey, these communists, these guys did it, and he grows to power because of that one event.
Putin.
So did Putin.
Yeah.
Does that remind you of anything else where the government may have turned a blind eye to something that impacted our civil liberties for the next
Never let a good
20
crisis
years?
go to waste.
Like 9/11, where there's a lot of controversy when it comes to 9/11, which you bring up in this argument.
Yeah.
One of the most offensive things I think about the comparison is you're talking. It's sad what happened to Ashley Babbitt. It's sad when anybody dies. 9/11. 2,977 people died, American citizens who weren't servicemen, not to mention the people the first responders who have died of cancers afterwards. And think about the families that were impacted by that, the amount of children whose dads and moms went to an office building on the 98th floor, never came home, and those kids grew up in a life. Look, Pete Davidson, his father was a New York City firefighter. Though, to say that, like, that is the most, to me, it's more un-American what you're saying in this instance, comparing that to January 6th, than what the people on January 6th did. I know that sounds retarded, and I'm not even allowed to use that word.
Yes, you are.
Okay, but it is that comparison. It makes me question, like, how are you somebody that was getting officials elected?
He also said,
he
said it was worse than Pearl Harbor.
He did add that too.
He added that too.
Kamala Harris said the same thing, and Rob.
And they made the comparison.
Their talking point.
And we talked about this. What really bothers me is, because 9/11 sticks out for me. I was 14 when it happened. It changed my vision on life. All of a sudden, it became, the shit you see in movies can really happen in real life.
It was like the Kennedy assassination for my parents.
Exactly.
There's these moments in history. Yes.
Generational.
Yeah. So it already had a profound impact on me. But then to hear when they excused Biden not going to the 9/11 ceremony because presidents still don't go to Pearl Harbor 60, 70 years later. Well, hey, it's a terrible comparison. The people that were killed in Pearl Harbor, most were military. There was and it sucks. There were 200 innocent civilians that were killed on that day, but the majority of those people were servicemen. The people on 9/11 that went in those buildings were not, they were everyday workers.
And with 9/11, then what changed? They passed legislation that impacted our life.
The Patriot Act.
And you were saying, so what story are they trying to impact with the infiltration of January 6th? Because you think about Operation Mockingbird, what would they do? They were trying to create these stories so then they can push legislation or different things that would change the way we live our life. So what were they trying to do with
think about it,
January
Kelly.
6th?
Think about it. It's, you know what it is? It's, even if you're questioning, even if, guess what? We're cheating. If you even try to protest in this type of, because mind you, I respect these people. Some of them, there was hooligans. There's people doing stupid shit. Some people were threatening violence. But guess what? When you have a problem with the system, you go to the fucking source. You don't burn down your city. You don't burn down your own people's businesses. You don't burn down churches. You don't do none of that dumb shit. You go to the damn the belly of the beast.
100%.
That's where you go. And Rob, you missed.
Those are peaceful protests, by the way.
Oh yeah, my bad. When the churches are on fire in the background. You missed it, Rob. You said almost 3,000 Americans, first responders, aftermath, cancer. What about our soldiers that we sent overseas to fight
the 20 years of war?
And a million. And by the way, 1 million. Think about it. Men, women, children, Iraqis, everybody, for a war that was a lie that they knew from the beginning, because weapons of mass destruction. And then you see Bush Jr. That's why people are always like, Vinny, you're a Republican. I go, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a patriot. I'm an American. Guess what? Bush, I can give two shits about him. Because remember, he was making jokes. He's like, there's no weapons of mass destruction over here. They were making fun of the fact that, and then they changed the name of the war once we got there. They're like, it's not Iraqi, it's enduring freedom.
Take a deep breath.
War and terrorism.
Remember, my favorite.
You look like the applicant.
Do I? Let me see that. No, look.
Think about what it did, though. So it was a narrative shift. So what was happening before the Capitol thing? So everybody's focused on, all right, well, is it possible to overturn the election? All right, the senators are going to testify. It was actually a thing that was up in the air. People were fighting for it. But then 6 hours later, after that, all the Republicans who were going to fight for it immediately flipped.
Why do you think that happened?
Why did they flip?
Why would they flip? Brandon, like, you know what? We're not even gonna fight this.
So it's political suicide in their eyes at that point, because people like Boebert, Hawley, they were all 100% on board, like trying to turn it and recount for Trump and all that. But they went down with their heads down and all that.
Wow.
I can't do the same way.
They're weak and they have no spines. And but they classified it, and it's always the same case, Rob, as an intelligence failure. How many more times are we gonna have intelligence failures by the FBI, by the Department of Justice? Bro, change the name. Unintelligent, like.
Well, it's like they're either incompetent or it's on purpose.
I think it's on. They can't listen to me.
How can they be that incompetent?
I don't think so, because mind you, they know everything. They hear everything. They're not stupid, and I think it's naive for the American public, which, mind you, their trust for the government is the lowest it's ever been.
And media.
And media.
It goes one. Yeah. It's funny how they're both at all-time lows at the same time.
In the history of America, the regular American person does not trust the media and the government. So guess what? We don't trust you. We don't trust you guys.
Yeah.
It's guys, and I'm happy that people are waking up. At the same token, it's worth the fight. So, so almost done. The chief of police, son, he tried to testify. They wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Why not? Pelosi was she was off limits to anything about this whole situation. She was recording. She was spreading all these freaking lies. No phone records subpoenaed. By the way, in 71 minutes, this chief called 17 agencies, got zero help. What else? Oh, and then Michael Stenger. This is the one that sticks out for me. Michael Stenger was a former Senate sergeant at arms who oversaw security during the Capitol insurrection. He died 1 day before the hearing. The guy.
He got Clinton.
It's just, is it just odd that every time something like this happens, they're like, oh God, this person just happened to die.
Dude, and how about the news article that came out when that happened? There's literally an NBC article that said Michael Stenger's death is considered not suspicious by the court.
Yeah, how do you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's super suspicious. The fact that you put out the article saying not suspicious.
They have to tell you it's not suspicious. Don't worry.
Not highly suspicious. And then there's no explanation for his death either. You go on his Wikipedia thing, it says death not explained.
Yeah. And dude, here's the thing. So my point being, if all the intelligence is coming in, you know what's going down, you know what's happening. The chief of police of the Capitol goes, guys, I need help. It's going down, and he got zero help. It's not incompetence. It's on purpose.
Didn't they request
So which is worse?
extra National Guard there?
On purpose is worse. Incompetence, at least you can...
that our government is that stupid? Is that worse?
Well,
or that it's incompetent and they're that evil?
No, evil is
Evil
way
and
worse
stupid.
than incompetence.
It's all evil.
Yeah, incompetence is, hey, idiot, make this phone call next time. Evil is, no, we don't want the phone call to happen. Everybody turn your back, let it go down. Let it happen because, and like some people would say, 9/11, Building 7, all these, listen to me, that happening has expanded us. In those years, bro, we are everywhere in the Middle East. We've expanded, and the security of the American public is
The surveillance
is forget
insane.
about it.
Well,
Yeah.
Vinny, they also requested, I believe, for additional National Guard to be there, and it got denied.
100%. He begged for it, and they said no.
And
But
guess what time they got there? 6 p.m. at night. In the
6 p.m. Oh, but the New Jersey, apparently the New Jersey state troopers got there before the National Guard, which is from a different state. But anyway.